First failed asylum seeker went to Rwanda yesterday, packed his bags.
This is incredible timing, isn't it? You know, with the mayoral elections coming up tomorrow, and this was sneaked out in the Sun on the front page this morning. I mean, look, I just have huge admiration for all these people on the Tory side of politics who've persisted with it. They can now say, we've got somebody in Rwanda. The old joke about
one Mike, it's embarrassing.
Three grand and 5 years more than logic.
But excuse me, as far as I'm concerned, the seal's now broken and the system is up and running, and they got them out there without anybody knowing, so all the legal protests weren't able to be put into place.
That's a very good point, actually.
Right?
They
did it behind the scenes. They got out there. They've only announced it now there. If they'd announced it, we're sending this chap because he's volunteered, there would now be a huge court case.
But surely there won't be protests against voluntary
I think it'd be quite difficult, because the great thing here is that firstly it's one person. Secondly, you can use a commercial airliner. And you're trying to do that with 20, 30 people. If you're going to deport one person at a time, we'll probably get this done in 230 years.
But
who knows who'll be the leader of the Tories?
But Stephen, you know, and it's making, and I can sense the panic amongst Labour MPs. What's happening in the north of Ireland? They're crossing the border, which all the fuss about. There must be no cameras there post Brexit. They're crossing the border into the south of Ireland because they fear being deported to Rwanda. And now the wretched Irish government is saying they're going to legislate so they can send them back to Britain. And it's because Rwanda is proving to be a deterrent. What are Labour going to do about that? They said we're going to abolish the policy, even if it works.
What we'll do is it's a reciprocal arrangement. If we are going to allow home country deportations, then we'll have the same thing.
But France won't take back ours. So how does that work? Once this chap gets there, and once the Pride of Fleet Street get out there and start talking to him, and once he says, this is a wonderful life, I'm by the swimming pool, and they're paying for me for 3 years, they'll be going there in droves.
But did you see, there's a story in the Times today about, there's this huge camp that's set up in Dublin from these people who are now...
And they keep them in tents rather than hotels.
The Irish government give them tents, or they have a huge housing crisis. And this chap, he's from Jordan, and they said, well, why are you fleeing? He said, I committed adultery with my neighbour's wife, and her family are going to kill me. That's a reason for seeking asylum in this country? Come on.
Wow.
And it's a lovely place. He's sitting there smoking some counterfeit cigarettes and heating up this stove for his morning coffee.
Talk to that lovely human rights lawyer who, Bev and I, we don't have a big fight with, David Hay, down in the West Country, who admits that 80% of the asylum cases he's dealt with, they've been bogus. They've made it up. They've lied.
Or they wouldn't have reason to stay.
No,
80%.
Absolutely. I think you've touched on something there, Andrew. Labour are terrified of the Rwanda policy even looking like it's going to work, in case people think, actually, they've been rubbishing it all along, and now...
They've voted against it 134 times.
Exactly.
It is a ridiculous, expensive gimmick that has absolutely no long-term benefit whatsoever.
Well,
it's a gimmick.
The proof is in the pudding.
And Stephen's solution is, we're going to get the gangs.
No,
we're going to get the
what we're going to do, you talked about 80% being bogus, 20% that case are genuine, so with those 20% should be processed in work and paying tax.
What about kicking out the 80% of bogus? Why didn't you say that?
Well, we can do the same thing. If we properly process, we get the Home Office working, then we can differentiate between the sheep and the goats.
And Monty Panesar is
saying... What Labour did...
We've got to deport illegal asylum seekers. That's what Monty Panesar is saying.
That's right.
The Labour rival won't be saying that.
I'm sorry, deport them to Tehran, deport them to Kabul.
Smashing the gangs, by the way, which is Labour's refrain all the time. We'll smash the gangs. The gangs are so clever that, a few... it dried up a bit, the market on the continent, so they've gone to Vietnam. They're recruiting refugees from Vietnam. That's how active the gangs are. It's $1 billion industry around the world, and anything you do to try and, quotes, smash the gangs, another gang will arise.
And as long as we have unregulated...
fastest growing number.
As long as we have unregulated labour in this country, and anybody can come here without any documentation... get a job...
No identity cards.
Keep their heads down, and then they have this thing called the regularisation of overstayers protocol, where after 3 or 4 years, even if you're illegal, you can say you've set down roots. The legal stuff has to be changed.